Let us come ahead now with the next concept in our topic of the banking, what we were talking about on the other day. The functions of bank is what we have to talk about now. After the functions of bank, we will directly jump on to the next concept, that is insurance, right? So functions of bank basically have two parts into that. One is primary functions of the bank, for which the banks are basically incorporated. This is the basic purpose why banking as an industry was evolved, banking as an industry was developed. Why? Because the core concept for which the banking industry is available is for mobilization of savings. Mobilization of savings I've explained you in detail earlier. So for that purpose, the primary functions of the bank include accepting of deposits from multiple parties and granting the loans and advances to whomsoever requires it. And that is how that mobilization of savings happen. कि मैं अकेला अगर मेरे पास एक थोड़ी सी सेविंग होगी, उस थोड़ी सी सेविंग से मैं किसी को कोई लोन नहीं दे पाऊंगा, किसी भी तरह का इन्वेस्टमेंट नहीं दे पाऊंगा, रिस्क ज्यादा रहेगा. Whereas if I'm depositing that money into the bank, a common institution, multiple of the parties doing it, and then bank having a large pool of funds which can be utilized for the purpose of giving, granting the loans, that is what is the primary function. That is why it is considered as the primary function. इसी के लिए बैंक्स को बनाया गया था. अब हुआ यूं कि जैसे जैसे बैंक ये सारे काम कर रही थी, वैसे वैसे बैंक को पता चला कि लोगों को एक जगह से दूसरी जगह पैसा पहुंचाना होता है, लोगों को उनकी थर्ड पार्टीज को पेमेंट देना होता है, लोगों को उनके थर्ड पार्टी से पेमेंट लेना होता है. And for that purpose, they started becoming the agent and they started providing the secondary, allied, additional, auxiliary services. And that secondary functions include the agency function, where the bank works an agent between the customer of the bank and a third party. That is why those are called as agency functions. Please, I'm not trying to tell you to by heart these all things. I'm just trying to tell you to bring that into the concept, that you should have the knowledge that why primary functions started, why these are called as secondary function. Is agency mein kya hoga? They're not the direct person to deal with the customer. They are working as an agent to the customer. So there is this customer, there is this kind of third party, and in between, the bank is working as an agent. And then utility services, जहां आपको किसी भी तरह की एडिशनल अलग से लोन्स एंड एडवांसेस की जरूरत नहीं है आपको, पर आपको आपके लिए एक गारंटी सर्टिफिकेट चाहिए. सो दैट्स अ काइंड ऑफ यूटिलिटी फंक्शन. आपको डिमांड ड्राफ्ट चाहिए. For that purpose, the bank functions in the form of utility functions. So these are the primary division of the functions of bank. Let us talk about these functions in detail further. In the very first one, accepting the deposit, primarily two categories of deposits. एक जो समय के लिए होता है, एक समय सीमा के साथ होता है, और दूसरा जो कभी भी दे सकते हैं, कभी भी ले सकते हैं. That's why the category is what? Time deposits and demand deposits. What comes in time deposits? The person is depositing the money with you for a particular period, for a particular time. And that's why it includes, number one, term deposits, what we commonly call as fixed deposit. I hope you are remembering this. You know this, that there is something called as fixed deposit. And then the second category is the recurring deposit. Now why it is called as recurring, इसमें हम लोग एक ही कड़ी को बार बार नहीं बनाते हैं. Recurring deposit is what? That where you are paying the funds to the bank on a recurring basis, on a revenue basis, on a regular basis. May it be a week, may it be a 15 days time, may it be a month. You are giving them on a multiple points, and you are going to withdraw that money along with the interest after a particular period of time. That's why that is called as a recurring term deposit. Whereas the term deposit, or what we commonly call as fixed deposit, in that you deposit once and you withdraw one. Now in both these cases, whether it is term deposit or recurring deposit, the banks do give you an option of withdrawing the interest on that at a regular interval or withdrawing the interest along with the maturity proceeds. Number 3, first one term, second टाइम डिपॉजिट्स में टर्म डिपॉजिट या फिक्स डिपॉजिट के लिए कहा मैंने डिपॉजिट वंस विड्रॉ वंस, रिकरिंग डिपॉजिट के लिए कहा मैंने डिपॉजिट एट मल्टीपल इंटरवल्स एंड विड्रॉ एट वंस। थर्ड पॉइंट मैंने कहा interest can be withdrawn at the regular intervals or it can be withdrawn along with the maturity of that term deposit. And the fourth point which comes is that the interest on term deposits, interest on fixed deposit is highest. Why? क्योंकि बैंक को कॉन्फिडेंस है कि ये पैसा बैंक के पास सबसे ज्यादा समय के लिए रहने वाला है, ये उस स्पेसिफिक पीरियड के लिए फिक्स रहने ही वाला है. That's why the term deposits will have the highest rate, whereas recurring deposit has the interest more than savings but less than term deposits, right? Then demand deposits. अब इसे डिमांड डिपॉजिट क्यों कहते हैं? मैंने कहा कि डिमांड डिपॉजिट इसीलिए कहते हैं कि आप ये पैसा मल्टीपल पॉइंट्स पे डिपॉजिट कर सकते हो और मल्टीपल पॉइंट्स पे विड्रॉ कर सकते हो. हालांकि in the case of savings deposit account, there is a restriction on the number of transactions from bank to bank. Whereas in current deposit account, there is no restriction whatsoever when it comes to deposits and withdrawals. You can make n number of deposits and n number of withdrawals when it comes to the current account. As far as the current account is concerned, that is primarily an account which is meant for the businesses, the people who are carrying out the business activities. For them, you have the current account, whereas savings deposit account can be opened only by the individuals, by the societies, or by certain trusts. So the businesses cannot open the savings deposit account. Am I clear up till now? Am I going fine for everyone? On current account, you do not get any interest. However, on savings deposit, the interest is there, but it is lowest amongst all the deposit accounts, right? I'm not trying to bring out the points which are there in the text on this point especially, because यहाँ पे आप जितना practical point of view से लिखोगे उतना ज़्यादा अच्छा होगा. The next one, that is granting of loans and advances. Again, loans and advances are also for a when it is for small traders cannot open the savings account. If it is your business, the businesses have to mandatorily carry out a current account only. कोई इंडिविजुअल अपने नाम से सेविंग्स डिपॉजिट अकाउंट ओपन करे और उसमें बिजनेस के ट्रांजैक्शन करे, दैट्स अ डिफरेंट थिंग. बट वहां भी जब नंबर ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शंस बढ़ जाते हैं तो इन दैट केस द बैंक विल श्योरली आस्क फॉर ओपनिंग अ करंट अकाउंट इंस्टेड ऑफ सेविंग्स अकाउंट. एम आई राइट? नाउ एज फार एज द ग्रांटिंग ऑफ लोन्स एंड एडवांसेस, that is what I said, Mr. Prathamesh Gaikwad, that in case of the small traders, what they do is they open the account as savings account, not in the name of business, but in their individual name. The moment you associate business name to an account, it has to be mandatorily a current account only. Am I right? Yes. So in case of loans, when it is given to you for a particular period, अब जैसे कि मैंने कहा था for the case of fixed deposits, deposit one, withdraw one, recurring deposit, deposit multi, withdraw once. In case of loans, it is the similar kind of thing, but it is disbursed once and paid back, repaid at single point or at multiple intervals. अब जैसे कि मैं आपको एक एग्जांपल बताऊं, अगर आप गोल्ड लोन लेते हो तो गोल्ड लोन इज डिसबर्स्ड फर्स्ट and then you repay in a single installment. You don't repay that gold loan in installments. But if you take the example of a housing loan, if you take the example of a vehicle loan, it is withdrawn once and repaid at multiple installments, what you commonly call as EMIs, the equated monthly installments. However, every loan is not repaid in EMIs. There are multiple ways of doing the repayment. There are some situations where the bank will ask for the fixed principal amount and the interest due till that point in time. In that case, the installment amount that you're going to pay will not be equated. Sarthak, I said for gold loan that it is disbursed to you first. It is given to you first. And then after a particular period of time, you repay that whole amount in a single installment. So disbursed and repaid with single installment, not in the EMIs, not in the equated monthly installments. So when you are given the loan for a period less than 1 year, it is generally called as a short-term loan. Whereas for the businesses, you require the loan for a period more than 1 year, then in that case, you may be given the term loan for a period of 3 years or 5 years. That is what we call as a medium-term loan. However, when the loan is given for a longer period of time, more than 3 to 5 years, then it is termed as a long-term loan. As far as the interest is concerned, on short-term loans, generally the rate of interest is higher, whereas on the long-term loans, generally the rate of interest is lesser. आप कहोगे सर ये तो उल्टा हो गया, जहां लॉन्ग टर्म होना चाहिए वहां पे हाइयर होना चाहिए. लॉन्ग टर्म के केस में बैंक्स को ज्यादा समय तक ब्याज मिलता है, इसीलिए इन द केस ऑफ लॉन्ग टर्म लोन्स नॉर्मली द रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट इज लेसर. इसीलिए अगर आप ऑब्जर्व करो, when you take a housing loan, you get it at 6.97, 7.5% in the current scenario. But when you take a vehicle loan, the vehicle loan is available to you for only what? 8%, 9%. Vehicle loan 5 साल के लिए, housing loan 20 साल के लिए, still you get lesser loans, lesser rate of interest. So that's what is the difference between the short, medium and long-term loans. If I take the example of advances, now why these are called as advances? Because these are to be repaid very fast. That's why it is called as an advance. That you are given this money, you will be repaying it. However, the cash credit, who take this short-term loan? Businesses do take short-term loans, beta. Like I gave you the example of gold loan, businesses do take the gold loans also in the current scenario. All right. The advances basically include cash credit, overdraft, and discounting of bill. I need not explain you what is discounting of bills. You already know about it. You have already done that in the subject of accounts. You've got the topic of bills of exchange, wherein you have the discounting of bills, then cash credit and overdraft. Cash credit is basic. Ashutosh, I didn't get your question. Is it a question or a comment? Okay, it's a comment. Of course, car loan is taken by almost everyone these days. Like every salaried person will be taking it, every business will be taking it. However, businesses do not take the car loan just for the sake of it. The dual advantage for the businesses is they get the depreciation on that. The repair and maintenance of that is a business expenditure. That's why the people running the businesses do not take the cars in their personal name, they take in the name of businesses. And that's in some cases, if they require, they may take the car loans as well, right? Then cash credit or overdraft. Now, what is the difference between a loan and advance? लोन के केस में क्या होता है, आपको डिसबर्समेंट दी जाती है, फिर आप उसका रीपेमेंट स्टार्ट करते हो. एक बार आपने उसका रीपेमेंट कर दिया तो आप वो पैसा वापस से विड्रॉ नहीं कर सकते. बट एडवांस में आपको एक फैसिलिटी दी जाती है, आपको एक लिमिट प्रोवाइड की जाती है. अप टू दैट लिमिट you can keep withdrawing the money, you can keep depositing the money. So there is a flexibility. This is reverse of current account. Current account में आप पहले डिपॉजिट करते हो, बाद में विड्रॉ करते हो. In the case of cash credit and overdraft, you first withdraw and then you deposit. That's the major difference between the loans and advances. The agency functions, जैसे मैंने पहले ही explain किया आपको, the agency functions are what? Where you and third party are there, and in between you have got the bank. That is why those are called as agents, or they are providing you the agency functions. In that, very first is periodic collections and payments. Like अगर आपको इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल का पेमेंट करना है, आपको म्यूचुअल फंड के पेमेंट करने हैं, आपको इंश्योरेंस प्रीमियम का पेमेंट करना है, आपने किसी पर्टिकुलर बंदे को एक फिक्स्ड अमाउंट रेगुलर इंटरवल पे पे करना है. So these all third parties, instead of coming to you on a regular basis, overdraft and short term loan is not same. Prathamesh, I categorically said, in case of loan, once you repay the money, you cannot withdraw it back. But overdraft के केस में I said you can deposit and withdraw it again. मतलब लोन का रीपेमेंट करने के बाद आप उस पैसे को वापस से विड्रॉ भी कर सकते हो, जब तक कि आपको वो लिमिट अवेलेबल है तब तक. Yes or no? हाँ, the difference between cash credit and overdraft, you can say what? Cash credit is generally available for 1 year. Overdraft is available for maximum 2 to 6 months. Right? So that's there, that kind of difference I can understand. But you cannot compare a term loan with a cash credit or overdraft. Am I clear? Mr. PG, am I clear for you? Huh. So I was explaining you the periodic periodic payments. When you are supposed to make this electricity payment, the telephone bill payment, the payment with reference to the insurance premium, the payment with reference to the mutual fund payment, the payment with reference to the kind of other related payments, then in that case, these all payments can be made by the banks on behalf of you, provided you have given the instruction to the third party and you have given the instruction to your bank. The third party is told that up to the given amount, you can withdraw the money from my bank directly. And you have given the instruction to the bank, if either of these parties with the given number comes to you and asks for the money up to the given amount, then you will be making the payment to the third party. That is why periodic payments become the thing. Similarly, periodic collection. आपने किसी कंपनी से डिविडेंड कलेक्ट करना है, आपने किसी थर्ड पार्टी से इंटरेस्ट कलेक्ट करना है, अगर आपने किसी थर्ड सपोज म्यूचुअल फंड से विड्रॉल करने हैं, these all amount you going to the mutual fund, taking the check, depositing into bank, you going to that company, collecting the dividend check, depositing into the bank, you going to the third party, collecting the interest, depositing into the bank. Instead of doing this, why not to instruct the bank directly? Or why not to instruct those all people directly that don't come to me, you directly give that money to my banker and my banker will accept it. Without your instructions, the banker is not going to accept those all amounts. So for acceptance also and for payments also, in both these cases, the banks will require a permission from you. Collection of bills भी periodic collection में include हो सकता है if the debtors are being given the instruction into that, or bill of exchange is being given to the bank for collection, right? Then portfolio management. Now what is this portfolio management? Where you are having the multiple investment options available. Now for these multiple investment options, you don't have the time to do the studies. You don't have the time to do the analysis. I have a doubt how salaries are paid to employees in bank, because interest is usually not sufficient, and also they provide agency functions. Disha, in that case, what they do is my letter or mail goes to my banker. My banker debits my account and credits my employee accounts, because both the accounts, my account as well as employee account, are available within the same bank. Or even if those are the third party bankers, then also they can do NEFT, RTGS, IMPS on my behalf, right? That's how they carry out the agency function. Then if sometimes there is more bill than regular, then also they will be doing the periodic collection of bill of exchange. Interest charged on the amount used in CC or OD. Yes, absolutely correct. In case of the term loans, the interest will be charged with reference to the total disbursed amount, and the interest will be charged on the outstanding on a continuous basis. But when it comes to the cash credit, the interest is not charged with reference to the total limit. Interest is charged only on the money utilized by you from that particular cash credit or overdraft. Right? That's an absolutely correct point, Athar. I missed out on that. If sometimes there is more bill than regular for payment. I'm not getting your question, PG, because periodic collections or periodic payment will include both. If there are multiple bills or if there is a single bill, what difference does it make for you? Right? So I was talking about the portfolio management concept. Now, what happens in portfolio management? Understand. Now, I really appreciate the kind of questions, the kind of comments which are coming from you. I assume, based on what type of things those are coming from you, I am able to presume this very comfortably that you people have at least read the chapter. कितने लोगों ने ऑनेस्टी इज द ओनली पॉलिसी, कितने लोगों ने ये चैप्टर पढ़ा है? प्लीज रेज द हैंड्स फॉर मी. प्लीज डोंट लोअर योर हैंड, कीप योर हैंड्स अप. मतलब मैंने बंदूक नहीं ली हुई है, फिर भी कीप योर हैंड्स अप. Hold your hands and go down. Do not do something like that. अच्छा, फिर भी कम है, फिर भी कम है. Out of 103, if only 103 is a big number by that way for me. I'm seriously saying this. 103 में से 67 मतलब बहुत बड़ा नंबर हो गया. पर जो बचे हुए हैं उन्होंने भी थोड़े से एफर्ट्स लेना आप जरूरी है. लोअर योर हैंड्स प्लीज. यस, हाँ, अटेंडेंस बढ़ गई आज. मतलब आज तो मतलब कमाल ही हो गया. तो मतलब सच में मतलब लोगों को अचानक क्या फील होने लगा कि हमने नहीं सच में वापस से ओसीएम करना चाहिए. वेल, नहीं, उस दिन जब 70-75 बच्चे आए थे इन द प्रीवियस सेशन, मैं थोड़ा डर गया. हाँ, प्रीलिम्स आ गए हैं. ओके ओके ओके. एनीवेज, अरे कॉलेज, तेजश्री प्लीज प्लीज, कॉलेज एंड लेक्चर्स, व्हाट इज द संबंध बिटवीन द टू? Because my lectures are at 9:30 in the night, man. 9:30 to 11. प्रीलिम्स क्या तुम ना कहानी बना रहे हो सच में. कस मतलब कहां से आते हो ना. मतलब असो, लेट्स टॉक अबाउट पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट. लेट इट बी, लेट इट बी. पढ़ाने दो यार, मैं बहुत पढ़ के आया हूं आज सच्ची में. ये पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट में मैंने क्या पढ़ा था? पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट का मतलब होता है कि जब आपको मार्केट का ज्ञान ना हो और आपके पास पैसा ही पैसा हो, then instead of making that investment yourself, why not to give the opportunity of doing the investment to a professional? And that is what is done under the portfolio management service. So what happens in this? आप जिसके पास बहुत पैसा है, आपने उस बहुत पैसे में से थोड़ा सा पैसा उठा के बैंक को दे दिया. राइट? If in regular basis bill of electricity is 1000 but in 1 month 5000, then this was my question. बेटा ऐसे जब तेरे क्वेश्चन होते हैं ना, तो ऐसे क्वेश्चन तू अनम्यूट करके डायरेक्टली पूछ लिया कर. राइट? तो इस केस में बैंक विल रिटर्न दैट कंपनी एंड विल इन्फॉर्म द कंपनी टू गो डायरेक्टली टू द कस्टमर. Right? In that case, bank won't make the payment. हाँ, नहीं तो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी वाले बोलेंगे चलो 1000 करके 5 बार, तो ऐसा नहीं चलेगा. वो 5000 का 5000 मुझसे लेने आएंगे. स्नेहा, इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकर और पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट, these are two very different concepts. Why? इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकर के समय पे मैंने कहा था इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकर विल बी गिविंग यू द एडवाइजरी, will be giving you the consultancy. For what? For the purpose of doing the mergers, acquisitions, going into some kind of purchase of another company. So that's investment banking. That's a different concept. Whereas portfolio management is what? Portfolio management is on your behalf. They are investing your funds into the share market, into the debt market, into the government securities, and they're collecting the profit for you. They're earning the profits for you, and they are giving that profits back to you. Wait, do not confuse mutual fund with the portfolio management. Both portfolio management as well as mutual fund are subject to market risk. Please read the offer document carefully before making any kind of investments. Now, uh, this portfolio management comes under AMC. What is this AMC, beta? Prathamesh? Asset Management Company. करेक्ट? उसी के बारे में बात कर रहा है तू कि तू एनुअल मेंटेनेंस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के बारे में बात कर रहा है? हाँ, असेट मैनेजमेंट कंपनी. ओ थैंक गॉड. ओ पुश. Asset management companies are basically the companies which are sponsoring the mutual funds in our country. So that's a different concept. Like we have HDFC AMC, which is basically running multiple types of the mutual funds in our country. So that's a different concept. What we are talking about, banks providing you the portfolio management function, बहुत ही limited, like Kotak Mahindra, ICICI, HDFC, these kind of companies do provide you the portfolio management services, right? They are not the broker. Share broker is a different concept. Portfolio manager is a different concept. Mr. Om Khandre, they are assessing the market. They are assessing the opportunities. They are investing on your behalf and withdrawing the profit and giving that profit to you. Against this, they charge a particular fee, is what we call as the portfolio management fee. Am I clear? Yes or no? Next one, they सर पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट में रिस्क रहता है क्या? मैंने शुरुआत में ही कहा दैट पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट हो या म्यूचुअल फंड हो, इश्क है तो रिस्क है. If you are having the ishq with profit, you need to have the risk of loss. Correct or not? प्रॉफिट से इश्क करोगे तो लॉस का रिस्क रहेगा. Is there any lock-in period for portfolio management? Now that depends from company to company. Generally, in the case of portfolio management, they put in a lock-in of minimum 1 to 3 years. That depends from company to company. वो प्रॉफिट के बेसिस पे चार्जेस लेते हैं क्या? नहीं, वो पोर्टफोलियो की वैल्यू के बेसिस पे चार्जेस लेते हैं. भाई हमको ना एग्जाम पढ़ना है, हमको ये सारी चीजें प्रैक्टिकली नहीं सुननी है इस समय पे. प्रीलिम्स ड्यू है. Do real mutual funds have risk? A lot of risk, Mr. Prathamesh Gaikwad. मैंने जेएम कॉन्ट्रा फंड में 5,000 रुपए इन्वेस्ट किया था, उसका आज का वैल्यू 1,200 रुपए है. राइट? हाँ. मिस्टर कौन था वो? ओम. मुझे पता है डायलॉग इज रिस्क है तो इश्क है, पर मैं हर्षद मेहता को फॉलो नहीं करता हूं, मैं एमटी को फॉलो करता हूं. एंड दैट्स व्हाई आई मेक माय ओन. Portfolio is also there for summing up all the shares, but that is different, right? No, portfolio simply means Fund transfer is the another agency service that they provide, wherein they will they will transfer the funds on your behalf to someone else. That is why that is again called as a kind of agency function. Dematerialization, nowadays you know that you cannot hold the shares or certificate shares in the certificate form for different companies. So those all shares are held in the dematerialized form, in the electronic form, and those depositories, that NSDL and CDSL, these are the two core depositories, and then there are the agents, and these agents are nothing but the banks. So you open the account with the bank, which ultimately give you the depository account, and that is how the dematerialization service is provided by these banking companies or banks. Then they also provide, they also do the forex transactions on your behalf. What the forex banks do, जो हमने exchange banks के बारे में सुना था, वही exchange bank का function to a certain extent is conducted by the commercial banks also in the current scenario. Then utility functions, issue of drafts. आपने किसी थर्ड पार्टी को पेमेंट करना है, आजकल तो आपके पास ऑनलाइन वाला ऑप्शन है. Yes, I know, Mr. Prathamesh, but the thing is what, मुझे एग्जाम पे रिस्ट्रिक्ट होना है, इसीलिए आई चेंज द टॉपिक कंप्लीटली. आई नो शेयर मार्केट इज अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक. आई नो यू वांट टू नो अबाउट इट. तुम लोग 12th खत्म करके आओ, मैं पहला 2 लेक्चर सिर्फ शेयर मार्केट मिलेगा, राइट? उसमें तुम मुझे जो पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट से रिलेटेड, म्यूचुअल फंड से रिलेटेड, कौन से शेयर में इन्वेस्ट करना चाहिए, कौन से में नहीं, तुम उस समय पे पूछना, मैं डिटेल में बताएगा. Issue of shares, issue of drafts, basically they are issuing draft is a mode of payment. जैसे आपका चेक होता है, like you issue the checks, similarly उस चेक में हमेशा एक रिस्क होता है कि वो अगर बाउंस हो गया तो people have to worry about it, and इसीलिए there are certain institutions which require you to make the payment through the demand drafts. And when these organizations are asking you to make the payment through the demand drafts, it's a kind of control on the market or control on payment. For that purpose, the drafts are asked for. Then the locker facility. आपके पास सोने जवाहरात इंपॉर्टेंट डॉक्यूमेंट्स होते हैं, आप ही के पास होंगे, मेरे पास कुछ नहीं है, मैं 150 रुपए रोज वाला बंदा. आई हैव नो लॉकर, नो नीड इन फैक्ट. तो आप वो लॉकर में जाके वो सारी चीजें रख सकते हो. उसकी 2 चाबियां होती है, एक चाबी आपके पास, एक चाबी बैंक के पास, मतलब वो इस तरह से प्रोटेक्शन होता है. देन they prepare the project report. In fact, there are certain banks who have got the exclusive separate department for carrying out the project report activities. जो आपके लिए जो इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकर्स काम करते हैं, उसी तरह का काम in some banks they do for in the commercial banks also. गिफ्ट चेक कंसेप्ट आजकल खत्म हो गई है. इंस्टेड ऑफ दैट दे गिव यू द गिफ्ट कार्ड्स. अगर आपने किसी को 2000 रुपए कैश गिफ्ट देनी है तो कैश कैसे पहुंचेगा, रिस्क एंड ऑल दैट. Instead of that, you take out a gift card from the bank and you give that gift card to your beloved ones, and that beloved one can go and swipe that card and use the money. Underwriting services, जो shares में आपने सीखा होगा, issue of shares में, they provide you the underwriting services, and gold related services like gold valuation is done by the banks. There are the gold ETFs which are purchased and protected, kept by the banks with themselves. So these are the various services which are performed in the utility functions by the bankers. What if bank become insolvent, then what happened to goods? भाई साहब, लॉकर आपका है, उसके अंदर रखी हुई चीजों को बैंक हाथ नहीं लगा सकती है, even if the bank is bankrupt. आज की तारीख में रूपी कोऑपरेटिव बैंक लिमिटेड is able to survive only because of the locker services. For your kind information, इनके पास सारे ब्रांचेस के मिला के लगभग 1 लाख लॉकर्स हैं, एंड ऑन एन एवरेज 5,000 रुपए उसका रेंट लेते हैं. 5,000 इंटू 1 लाख, इतना पैसा इनको हर साल आता है, दे आर यूटिलाइजिंग फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ देयर एक्सपेंडिचर, राइट? देन ई बैंकिंग सर्विसेज जो आज की तारीख में बहुत ज्यादा प्रचलित है. ई बैंकिंग, हर जगह पे फैसिलिटीज जरूरी हो गई हैं. इफ यू आर नॉट हैविंग द ई बैंकिंग फैसिलिटी विथ यू, देन यू आर नोवेयर. चाहे आप कोऑपरेटिव बैंक हो, चाहे आप कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटी हो, चाहे आप कमर्शियल बैंक हो, इफ यू डू नॉट प्रोवाइड द ई बैंकिंग सर्विसेज, यू आर गॉन. एंड फॉर दैट पर्पस the e-banking services in the current scenario. Now ये जो हर एक स्लाइड मैंने आपके सामने रखी ना, this each slide is a 5 marks का question, 4 or 5 marks का question, whichever way they asked it. Each slide, I'm seriously telling you this. तो हर स्लाइड के सिर्फ हेड पॉइंट्स अगर तुमको याद हो तो इमीडिएटली एग्जाम में तुम कंफर्टेबली पूरा आंसर लिख पाओगे, isn't it? हाँ. Automated teller machines, ATM, that's the kind of day in and day out activity. Credit and debit cards is what they issue. Credit card जब लिखोगे तो credit card is a kind of loan wherein the credit card holder is given a particular limit up till which he can utilize that at multiple places and can repay the money after a particular point. Debit cards, where that is a kind of card against your account only. अगर आपके अकाउंट में पैसा होएगा तो आप पैसा विड्रॉ कर पाएंगे. RTGS, as the name itself suggests, is the real-time gross settlement. You can perform this function for a transfer above rupees 2 lakh. NEFT up to rupees 2 lakh. That NEFT is done in batches, whereas RTGS is done at immediate system. Mobile and net banking is the compulsory thing which has been provided by the bankers these days. You have the mobile app through which you can carry out the banking activities of deposit, of withdrawing and transferring the money from place to place. IMPS facility, which is the recent one, Bheem, UPI, etc., is the facility which is connected to this IMPS only. That is immediate payment system facility, wherein the funds can be transferred at the flick of the seconds to the another account. However, the limit in majority of the banks is 50,000 for IMPS facility, and IMPS facility works on any day 24/7, whereas RTGS and NEFT facility can function only on the working days of the bank within the specified times of RBI. Am I right? So these are the various functions of the banks and in the banking industry. Am I clear for everyone? Yes or no? Okay. So let's move on now to the insurance service. What I'll do is today I'll just finish off. Is there charges for RTGS? In fact, there are the charges for RTGS, NEFT, IMPS. That all depends on the bank to bank. In what sense? That the charges in the current scenario are very nominal, or in some cases those are waived off by the banks also. That depends from bank to bank again. But RBI asks for leaving the charges on the RTGS, NEFT, and IMPS facility. Yes. Any other question? That's the facility available with the bank for waiving off those interest, waiving off those charges. Anyone else having any kind of question with reference to the banking service, banking functions? Prathamesh, I said IMPS, RTGS, NEFT. In all the cases, there are the charges. लिखा है कि this facility is available round the clock for customers. IMPS facility is available round the clock, but RTGS and NEFT facility is having works only on the business days of the banks. Which bank is best for opening account after turning 18? जहां का मैनेजर तुम्हारी पहचान का हो वहां पर, या जहां का स्टाफ तुम्हारी पहचान का हो वहां पर. What is gold ETF? The gold exchange traded funds, instead of investing directly into the gold, physical gold, you can invest through these gold ETFs. What is ETFs? Exchange traded funds. These are similar to mutual fund only. They purchase the physical gold on your behalf, and जैसे अब मेरे पास सपोज 500 रुपए ही है, तो 500 रुपए में सोना खरीदेगा कितना? मतलब क्या 0.1 ग्राम जाके खरीद के आऊंगा? क्योंकि 1 ग्राम सोना आजकल 5,000 रुपए का मिलता है, पर मेरे पास तो 500 रुपए है. तो ऐसे 500-500 रुपए वाले बहुत सारे लोग हैं they accumulate the funds and they invest into the physical gold or into the companies which are dealing into the gold or gold related items. They are basically the gold ETFs. Yeah, in the current scenario, it's electronic gold. How much money is kept in ATM machine? वाह, सेजल चोरी करने चलना है अपने को. करें एक प्लान बनाए, अपना गैंग ऑफ बसेपुर से लेके गैंग ऑफ पुणेपुर ऐसा कुछ तो बनाएंगे. नहीं, नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम सेजल, बिग इशू, यू नो. मनी हीस्ट, बहुत कुछ कर सकते हैं हम लोग. वेल, एटीएम में इट डिपेंड्स. what I had seen personally, there was this ATM which was having the collection of 20 lakh rupees at a time. वो जब लोड किया जाता है, अच्छा एमटीज गैंग, ओ माय गॉड, ना बाबा मेरे को मत फंसाओ. Why rates of rate? It's not the rate of gold, beta. When you are investing in gold ETF, it is the NAV of it, is the net asset value, total quantity of assets that they have, total value of that assets they have, divide by the total number of units. That is what is the NAV of gold ETF. It's nothing to have the link of that with the gold rate. Manish sirs, he's no, not at all. Sejal, in fact, the ATMs, the normal ATMs जो होते हैं उसमें 20 लाख रुपए होते हैं. इनफैक्ट वो ATMs के अंदर ना कैसेट्स होते हैं, जैसे हमारे नॉर्मल कैसेट्स हम लोग ड्रॉर्स होते हैं, वैसे ही ड्रॉर्स होते हैं, और वो ड्रॉर्स में लेयर बाय लेयर कैश रखी हुई होती है, और उसमें वो सेंसर लगे होते हैं, वो गोल गोल घूम घूम के उसमें से पैसा निकाल के हमको देते हैं. दैट इज हाउ दैट ATM वर्क्स. आई हैव सीन दैट गोल्ड ATM. बिकॉज सीए बन गए, सीए बनने के बाद में हमको ऐसे समझा कि हम लोग ऑडिट भी कर सकते हैं, और वो ऑडिट करके ऑडिट करने के समय हम लोग बोले कि नहीं, हमको एटीएम का भी ऑडिट करना है, तो हम एटीएम चेक करेंगे. तो वी एक्चुअली चेक द कैश अवेलेबल इन द एटीएम वेदर इट इज मैचिंग और नॉट. उसमें जो खराब नोट हो जाती है उसके लिए भी अलग से ड्रॉर होता है, उसमें उठा के वो मशीन फेंक देती है वो खराब नोट. दैट्स हाउ इट वर्क्स. वेल, what I'll do today is I'll just finish off with this part of insurance, the basic features of insurance. The further part of that, that is the terms and the various principles of insurance, these all will be talking about in tomorrow's lecture. As I told you that I have come out, and the coincidence is I have to reach back at 11 PM at home, क्योंकि यहाँ नाइट कर्फ्यू लगा हुआ है, बीच में वापस पुलिस पकड़े, इससे पहले मैं घर पहुंच जाऊं वो ज्यादा इजी है. Yes. So we'll come on, in fact, with this insurance concept in tomorrow's session. Shall I stop by the lecture right now? No, money. These days money doesn't get stolen. These days ATM gets stolen, और फिर वो तोड़ फोड़ के उसमें से कैश निकालते हैं. Yeah, I'll stop by here. We'll meet again tomorrow at 9:30. Probably I'll be able to see more than 100 ka number again tomorrow as well, because tomorrow we are going to talk about insurance, principles of insurance, and types of insurance. Thank you and good night.